So I'm going to wheel hoe, and you notice when it's really wet like this, it will kind of come off as a sheet, so when you go back you can tear the plants loose a little bit more with the backstroke. Now I have probably maybe about 20 pieces of potato to plant. So I'm working around this lettuce. Which was a volunteer crop. See, with that nice big throat on this wheel hoe, you can cut down 2-foot tall weeds, which we're going to compost. So I want to make a long enough row here to plant a row of potatoes. Now that's kind of amazing, isn't it? These weeds are big enough. I'm not going to try leaving them here, and shake the dirt off and throw them in a compost pile, and they'll make nice organic matter. So one of the nice things about letting your weeds grow like this is that it's creating organic matter to add to your pile. It's also these roots, when I cut these off with the wheel hoe, they're cut off maybe an inch, 2 inches below the ground, and the rest of the roots are still in the soil, so there's a lot of organic matter still in that soil, which will help keep it loose and fertile. Weeds also attract they hold on to nutrients. You got these rains that come in the winter here in California and other places too, I'm sure. If you just had bare soil, a lot of those nutrients would get leached out of the root zone. This way they are trapped on the roots, and in the tops will get returned to the soil when they're broken down. The roots are still there, so we are increasing the fertility without having to plant green manure. You didn't plant, here in California, other places too, you'd plant vetch, for instance, purple vetch or bell beans. Those are great green manure plants because they have the ability to fix nitrogen from the air. They're in the bean family, legumes, and probably most of these don't do too much of that. But it's a lot better than having naked ground. Now I'm going to go get a furrower, and we're going to make a furrow to drop those potatoes in. you always want to have your blades relatively dirt-free when you put them away. They don't really have to be dry because they will dry out, but if you have a whole lot of compacted dirt on the blade, that dirt holds moisture and it'll rust the blade. And that blade's nice and polished from use, and it's sharp enough. It's been sharpened with a file. So we're going to put the furrower on. I'll put it in the back hole here, right there. Clip it on. You notice, even though this dirt's pretty wet, I'm not getting much of a buildup here because the mud scraper will take off any extra off the wheel. And I'm going to want to, let's see. So I'm making a furrow I'm going to drop the potatoes into. Potatoes like cool weather, but they can grow in warm weather if you water them enough. So you can see all those roots from the mallow. I can actually hear them breaking. And that's all good organic matter. All right, then. Let's plant some potatoes. And you notice I'm going to have a spot where it's just lettuce here because of the volunteers. That's all right. Small garden, you can do that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to go get the potato stars. And here they are sprouting. And you want to cut it into pieces about this big or larger. Don't want them too small because the plant will initially draw energy from this piece of potato. So I'm going to plant it with the eyes up and about, I don't know, 10 inches apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces. So everyone's got at least one eye, preferably 2 or 3. Now if you're planting on any scale, you probably shouldn't use store-bought potatoes that have started sprouting. You should probably use seed potatoes that are tested for diseases. If you have some ugly, scabby looking potatoes, don't plant those. You don't want to spread diseases. Okay. Now, the easiest. So I cut these a couple days ago, probably a week ago. Put them in a pan in the living room where they got dried off. It's called chitting, I believe. So they get dried there without getting moldy or anything. And then you want to cover them. So we made a furrow. Now we're going to run the furrower next to the furrow and cover them up. You notice I planted the potatoes down in a depression. That's a good idea. Potatoes are not a root crop. They're a stem crop in actuality. So you want the potatoes to have a nice long stem covered by soil or mulch. And So those are planted. Now I'm going to cover these, and if you haven't tasted homegrown potatoes, it's one of those crops like homegrown corn. You think, well, potatoes, you can buy them cheaply at the store. Well, nothing's cheap anymore, but potatoes that you grow yourself taste so much better than store-bought. So there we have it, a row of potatoes, 14 plants. The yield, a good yield would be 8 to 10 times the weight. So say I planted 2 pounds, I would get like 16 to 20 pounds of potatoes. And for me, that'll last a few months. I'm not that big of a potato eater. I would have planted more if I had more. In fact, I'll go to the feed store and see if they have them, but I know in past years they don't get them until April, and that's really not ideal for California. So, potatoes. All I need now is a couple of sticks to mark my row. But I know what potatoes look like, so I'll recognize them when they come up. Okay, now when they get about that tall, we're going to hill them and bring more dirt up around them. You'll see that process in a couple months. So there you have it. Potatoes planted February 26, 2016, Chico, California, using the 12-inch blade assembly on high weeds, as well as the Furrower for furrowing and covering the potatoes. So, Valley Oak Tool Company, check out our website, valleyoaktool.com. Have a great spring.